conferences are parent conferences that are planned and conducted by the students. Teachers become facilitators, and students are held accountable for the work that they're doing in all of their core classes. Students are actually given a worksheet that helps them plan for their own conference. They are asked to evaluate each core class by identifying their strengths and their weaknesses in those classes. They are also asked to develop 3 academic goals that they can work towards for the second marking period. Teacher facilitation is crucial during this planning time. Meeting with each student for progress, clarification, and elaboration is critical. Students cannot simply say they do not have any strengths or weaknesses. And this is where the teacher has to have that one-on-one conversation with each student.
Strengths. That was really hard to think of.
Why?
I have no strengths.
No. Now look, if you did well on your essay, then you have a strength, okay? So it's just a matter of finding your strength, because just saying to your parents, oh, I did great on the essay. Well, weren't there many parts to the rubric?
Yeah.
Okay, so pulling out the rubric and actually saying, oh wow, look, I got all perfect scores in this area because that's something I excel on, okay? That's what you want to focus on. So you want to give examples, and if that means you have to pull out a rubric or pull something up online, you have to do that.
Students cannot be totally left alone to do their own planning. They need teacher direction to make sure that they are well prepared to meet with their parents. On the day or evening of the conferences, students are expected to come to their conference with their parents and to have their Chromebooks. Parents and child will sit together and go through the worksheet and the evidence that the student has to show their parents. Any other information that needs to be shared with the parent comes from the students.
This here, then you need to, if you don't understand that, then you need to ask for help. You need to ask Mr. McBride, whether it's in the flex, whether it's during set, and you need to understand this.
And this is one, okay, you have to watch the whole thing. I worked really hard on this one. So here you go. You can look at it. It's like a play thing.
Okay.
There was diseases, but I escaped that too. Then there were Native American battles along the way. I escaped that as well. Then I got to Asia and I traded, I got spices, silk, and gold, and I exchanged that.
That was rice, coffee, and what else?
It was salt, coffee, and jewels. And then we went back in the end. Okay. What are my goals? To work ahead in all subjects so I will not fall behind, carefully scrutinize the rubrics and my projects before turning it into the teacher, and do not procrastinate on doing work / do not put the work off to do something else.
Does this have to do with marching band?
And I have a plan for marching band. Sundays I work ahead, which is the day off. Mondays I work during set to get done what I got in class. Then Tuesday and Wednesday I just do what I have. And then Wednesday I work ahead so I won't fall behind on Thursday because I know I won't have time to. And then Friday I just do it on Sunday.
Well, you need to manage your time more wisely. So for the second marking period, I'm going to be looking out.
Okay. This was lesson 1.
Good.
And then lesson 2.
Good job on the second attempt.
Okay.
Are you still having problems focusing on both of them?
No, it's easier to focus on the science one.
Okay. So you have to be more focused on the ELA.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. Which I know you enjoyed. You even had to write a conclusion. Good.
And then I struggled on the Change the World project because I couldn't really find the information for some of it. And then on math.
Yeah, why didn't you find the information?
Well, I couldn't find credible sources because it wasn't really like, I went to the actual site, like the organization, but it didn't tell me because they didn't really like launch it yet, so they didn't really have a price. So I had to use an uncredible source.
Okay, now did you go to your teacher?
No. Well, I did sort of, but not really.
Well, why not? Is there an issue why you don't go to your teacher?
No.
Is that something you think you might need to do from time to time?
Yeah, but
Okay.
I thought that he
So
wouldn't really answer my
focusing
question. I thought that the teacher wouldn't really answer my question because it was part of the project.
Okay.
Okay, and then like you watch a part of a video and then you have to answer a question about it, and like they say it really fast sometimes and I don't really catch it. Or like for one of them you had to pick two, but I only picked one, and then so I got right, but I didn't like click another one that was also right. And then I did a soup project, which was we presented it and it was a broadcast. And I'll show you the script.
When you say you didn't hear part of it, correct?
Yeah, but like if you don't hear it the first time, then you can go back. But I still didn't catch it, so I just did like what I thought.
Do you put your earbuds in?
Yeah.
And do you hear the same out of both ears?
Yeah. No, like they just said it really fast and I didn't really understand it, so I sort of just guessed.
Can you can you slow it down and redo it? Go back and listen to it a third time. Can you slow?
Yeah, you can like listen to, but you can't really like slow down the person's voice.
Okay.
They like just say it, and you can like repeat it.
Okay. At that point, if you have problem understanding, can you go to a teacher and ask them what they're saying?
Yeah.
And did you do that?
No.
Why not?
Because it was, well, it's out of 10 points, and I didn't think that if I got one wrong, it would make
It makes a big
a
difference.
difference.
Do you have any questions for me?
Yes, I do. And her and I have talked about that. And she brought like some of her goals. I was going to ask her, whose goals are they? Yours, or were they your teacher's goals?
Mine.
Okay. So she does realize that, because I did write down focusing sometimes. I keep telling it's like she wants to jump ahead. So she doesn't focus on the moment, she focuses on the next step.
Right.
So I don't know if there's anything that we can, do you think there's something we can do at home?
Probably not.
Okay.
I mean, I just think that that's something that she has to realize and internalize, that she needs to take her time, first of all. She needs to be thorough on each step.
Right.
And then that way, when she's ready to go on, she can be confident that she knows she's done what she needs to do in the first step.
Okay.
One of the things that I really try to
So did you have to come up with different strengths in all of them? You couldn't just repeat the same one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Our like puppet show one. So I was the narrator. Yeah, it was based on the movie 16 Wishes from Disney Channel. Yeah.
So everyone had their own part to speak.
Yeah.
And how did you make the puppets? Because I don't think I ever saw any of the puppets.
We printed them out, like template of a person, and they're like colored it in and stuff.
Were they on a stick? That's cool. So you don't have guided notes in history?
We do, but they're really vague. Like he'll put, what he'll do is at the top he just writes summary, comma, answers, comma, questions and stuff, and then on the column he just has like topics like this tribe or this tribe, and you have to like pick what you want to write down, but I never write down and write stuff that I need for the quiz.
So how are you going to improve that?
I'm going to write it all down.
Okay, now that takes a long time though. What could be a better solution than writing it all down? How about write the main point down for every page or every blurb that you listen to? Because writing it down word for word is going to take forever. And maybe it'd be better to listen to it once, that section, and then go back and then write down like the 2 or 3 main points from that section.
Okay. What are some struggle points?
In ELA, I struggled with the Edgenuity quizzes because the answers are too much alike. For science, I struggled in understanding the Edgenuity topics. Like, I turned those off in the conversation and never go back and rewind.
Okay.
And for math, I struggled with making silly mistakes, such as like forgetting to put the negative sign in front of a number. And history, I struggle with Edgenuity quizzes because instruction is unclear and we don't take very good notes.
Give yourself a couple of times to go through it. Sometimes if you can just read something, you don't get everything the first time, right? But taking open-ended notes is good practice for later high school, because that's what you'll have to do.
So at that point, Edgenuity says your high score is an 80, you've passed. When I see that, there's a choice that they have. 80% or higher is they can get another retake from me to get a better score, but they have to ask for it. Some kids are fine with an 80%. Okay. She may not be fine with an 80%, and she has asked. I was
going to say, you better not be all right with an 80%.
She's asked, and that's fine, but they have to ask. I don't chase them. For those kids who are struggling with concepts, that's our signal as teachers that that is a concept that those particular children can't do on their own. Okay. When they come to face time, that's when we remediate. That's when we pull them together and we focus on just that concept. Because Haley may not need it. And this is how it's been for years. You're teaching the same concept to everyone, and she may get it, and someone may not, and she's just sitting there bored to tears. So what we're doing is we're giving them things to do above and beyond the concept in the face-to-face, so that the teacher can actually sit and work with kids who are focused or are not focused. That helps. So we are teaching, and it's hard for you to explain because you don't understand what goes into our job. Now, the remediation changes constantly because every Edgenuity lesson is different. It's a different concept. So she may actually struggle. I think we've only met like once or twice for remediation. She does pretty well on her own. But there are concepts that are difficult that, I mean, it's always, I'm constantly with a new group of kids. And it's my job then to make sure they're able to take the quiz one more time after remediation and try to get their score better. So there is a third retake always offered. One of them is they have to remediate with me. One is if they ask on their own. Okay. So they're taking that concept and building on it. And it's not fair to hold those kids back who can go right on.
No, that's an awesome explanation.
So,
looking at it as a parent from home, I do online college. I feel like sometimes, are we doing the same thing? No. Because you should have that teaching. So that makes me feel way better.
And I do meet with them. Even with this last project, they had to come back and they're accountable to me. Like, how far are you? What are you doing? Are you able to understand? And I'm checking in with everybody. So I'm not just ignoring Haley.
Great.
There may be times that I don't talk to her in a day, like back here, but she knows I'm checking in on her.
Great. So. Asked about that. You hit all 3 of the weaknesses that I had on to say to you that I thought were weaknesses. You hit all 3 of them. I think that's all I have.
Yeah.
So. I think you've done great, sweetheart.
Yeah,
she has.
I could not be more proud of you.
One component that makes student-led conferences successful is that teachers are still available to the parents and should be available for any further questions or concerns. Teachers are not to be in the hallway or at their computers. They should be floating around the room, making themselves available to both parents and to students. A benefit to student-led conferences is that you can have multiple conferences happening at one time in your classroom. Parents overwhelmingly agreed that student-led conferences were a better way to hear about their child's progress. Who better knows about their child's progress than the child himself? Questions that parents had about a certain class could be answered right there and then by the student. And most parents commented that they really don't sit down and discuss their child's work, progress, and grades at home. It also holds the students accountable for their grades, class issues, and progress. Students must be ready to defend their grade to their parents and tell them why they struggle in certain areas. And no one can do this better than the student.